Hey guys, welcome. If you're new here, my name's Brian Craig. Make sure you're subscribed, got the notification bell clicked as well. Welcome, hello. Welcome to Joe Biden's first press conference watch party. Now, tell me in the chat room, guys. I'm going to ask two questions, but first one first. It starts in just 5 minutes. How long do you think this press conference will last? I have here my stopwatch, so we'll time it. It's supposed to start at 1:15. So on the quarter after, and don't be sarcastic. Tell me what your real educated guess would be. How long do you think this press conference will last? That's my first question. So let's see here. I'm not sure what I'm going to say. No, 2 minutes. Come on. You got to be more realistic than 15 minutes? I'm not going to give you what I think yet. I did on the radio this morning, but I don't want to give it now. 15 minutes, 6 minutes, 10 minutes. No more than 30. 21 minutes, says Sabrina. Hey. Del Rey. Hey, Frey and Del Rey. 12 minutes, 15 minutes, 25 minutes. Okay, we have one person who says longer than 30 minutes. 27 minutes. Global Agenda says 44 minutes. Oh, my goodness. 30 minutes, 20 minutes. Yeah. Wow. Well, we got some good guesses there. 19 minutes, 13 minutes, 38 minutes. Yeah. I know some people may think, since it's starting on the quarter after, and when this pops up, I'll be able to enlarge it. This is the official White House stream. I can enlarge it now. There we go. It'll begin shortly. And it'll just pop up when it's ready. 15, 25, 9 minutes, 24 seconds. That's not much of a press conference. No, there's no drinking game here. It's a little after 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and after this, I got a podcast to do and other stuff. So, oh man, I know. I'm going crazy on the live streams today. Do you realize that this is my third live stream today already? I know, I'm getting like live stream crazy. Did you guys catch my previous live stream with the homeless guy? Oh my goodness. That was crazy. 45 minutes. It's going to hurt. 10 minutes, 20 tops. I'm going to say 22 minutes. 22 minutes is what I'm going to guess. 22 minutes. That'll be my guess. Now I have a stopwatch here. So let me make sure I know how to use this stopwatch. I haven't used it before. It's a stopwatch. Okay, that stops it. Okay. Wait. How do I get back to 0? Okay. I've got my stopwatch here. I got this watch on Mercari or eBay. No, I got this on eBay. $9.99. Old Casio watch. Get the stopwatch going. So when Biden comes out, okay, when should I start the stopwatch? Okay? Should I start it as soon as he starts speaking? Because he may come out and make remarks. Or should I start it when he takes the first question? I think I'm going to start it when he starts speaking. How about that? The stopwatch. What do you guys think? Do I start when he starts speaking because he can make opening remarks, or when he takes the first question? Tell me that. Then I got one more question to ask you guys. First word that he says. Okay. First words that when Biden starts talking, I will hit it. Okay, you got it. You got it. Then we'll get a good time here. We'll get a good time. How many questions do you think he will take? He's supposed to be up in 1 minute. Let's see if he's on time. I like a timely press conference. I don't like people being late. Okay, first word, I'll start it. How many questions? 3 questions? 8 questions? How many? What? And don't use those. Aren't the two choices. How many? Just whatever number you think. How many questions will he take? Oh, that's a good one, Cynthia. Cynthia's got a good one. If you're new here, by the way, make sure you subscribe, click the notification bell, and everyone, if you could like the video, that would help. I'll be podcasting after this. My wife and I, we have a podcast that we upload on this channel. 9 questions, 3 questions. We're going to do a podcast today, too, after the press conference. Because maybe there'll be something like really newsworthy in this press conference that we will want to talk about on our podcast today. 6 questions, 4 questions, 5. You guys keep track of the number of questions, okay? I'll be listening. I'll try to keep track of the questions. I'll keep track of the time. Yes. Oh, man. Yeah. Yeah, make sure you have the notifications clicked for me, because I do a lot of live streams, and every time I do a live stream, I hear from people that say, I didn't get a notification, and I'll message people back, and most of the time, not every time, but most of the time, they don't have the notifications button pushed, and they think they did. Oh, Biden's late. You're late, Biden. It's 1:16. Supposed to be out here at 1:15. Yes, this is live. This is going to be a live press conference. Going to be live. Our first press conference. Yeah. I hope he calls on Ducey from Fox News, because at least we'll know we'll get something interesting out of that. You know. Hey, Sarah, how you doing? 3 questions.
That's not nice.
That was Suri. Suri just said that's not nice. Did I do something that Suri's taken offense to? Why, Suri? What did I do? What did I say that Suri just said that's not nice? Oh my goodness. Oh, all right, Biden. You're keeping us wait. You're 2 minutes late, man. I hope there's no questions on Major Biden. Major Biden's the dog. The press were a little concerned yesterday. They were very inquisitive about if Major Biden has returned to the White House, and apparently he has. I hope there's nothing ridiculous like that. Who cares about the dog, right? I mean, I care about my dog, but I don't care about Major Biden. You know what I mean? Especially when we just have, like, such a short time. Where will Kamala Harris be? Yeah, she'll be right there. She'll be right there. Yeah. He is late. He was supposed to be out here at 1:15. It is now 1:18 here on the East Coast of the United States. So he is late by 3 minutes. That's why I set the live stream up 5 minutes before Biden so we could talk a little bit. And he's keeping us hanging. Well, that's what he does. That's what Biden does, man. Yeah. Boy, oh boy. Guess maybe he's drinking like a Mountain Dew or a Red Bull or something right now. You know, a little late. Takes a little while for that to kick in. Yeah. Oh, man. What if when it flashes on, it's Kamala? Oh, my goodness. That'd freak everybody out. That'd be news, wouldn't it? I know, we don't care about the dog. Exactly. We got Karen, you're right on the money. You were right on the money. Hey, Karen, who spells her name with a C, how many times in your life do you think you've told people how to spell your name? Oh, my goodness. Every time you tell someone your name, you must have to say, Karen, C-A-R-Y-N. Oh, my goodness. Don't you wish your parents would have spelled Karen the right way so you didn't have to spell it all the time, Karen? I would imagine that would drive me nuts. Sometimes I got to say Brian with an I, but that's not very often. Yep. He's late. 4 minutes late. Get with the program, Biden. This isn't good. Let me see here. Let me minimize this just for a second. Okay, just to make sure. Yeah, it's live. They're live streaming, but we don't have him. Okay, you start spelling Karen before you say it. Yeah. It probably would have saved you a lot of aggravation in life, Karen, if you would have legally changed her name to Karen. Oh, boy. Oh, I don't think I've ever seen Karen spelled that way before. But I can read, so I can sound it out. Come on, Biden. Come out wherever you are. I like how, what do you think about this new logo This is the new White House logo. See what these Democrats did? They made the White House blue. This is like the wall of the White House. They painted blue. Oh, this is watch. I bet this is the vehicle warranty people. Hello?
Hi, this is Amy, and I'm giving you a call from the Dealer Service Center. We recently noticed your car's extended warranty was going to expire and wanted to give you one final courtesy call.
How many of you guys have gotten this call?
And your coverage is voided. This would make you financially responsible for all service repairs.
Yeah.
Press 1 now if you wish to extend or reinstate your car's warranty.
Oh my gosh. How many of you, I get that call every day, multiple times a day. That's the latest scam, right? How many of you guys get that call all the time about your vehicle warranty? I get that all the time. Yeah, you guys get it too. Yeah. I took a risk taking that call because I didn't know who it was, and I put it on speaker. Yeah. But I knew it was someone I didn't know because it came from Pennsylvania. I don't get calls from Pennsylvania. Almost weekly. I get it every day. Every day. Oh my goodness. Come on, Biden. I got stuff to do, man. I don't have time to sit around here like I'm standing. Oh my goodness. I don't have time to stand here all day. Some people got work to do. You know? We're MAGA people. I don't have time for this. The press conference, he is 6 minutes late. The press conference would have been like over by now. You know what I mean? It would have been over. Oh my goodness. Come on, Biden. No, he's still not out there. I checked somewhere else. He is not out there, people. Nope. This is crazy. Crazy. We're not all Democrats. A lot of us have things to do. Oh, man. You get the calls every day. Yeah, I don't know why. This vehicle warranty scam, I get that call every single day, at least once, but usually multiple times. It's the latest scam. They've wised up because they have like an American-sounding woman's voice there. Like in the past, they didn't have that, you know. It was, you know, than the previous scams. There's a channel I watch here on YouTube called Scammers Payback, and it's a computer expert, and he talks live on YouTube with the scammers and deals with them. It's called Scammers Payback. It's pretty funny. Sometimes he's funny. You watch it. I'm not going to explain it, but check it out. Yeah, but see, I was just telling you, look, the Democrats, they painted the White House blue with this new logo. Could you imagine if Trump would have changed the logo to the White House and painted the White House red? They would freak out. And I don't know why they're blue and we're red. They should be red, right? They're the commies. Shouldn't we be blue and they be red? I think that's the way it should be. Myself, but you know. No, I'm still looking. No, he is not there yet. I'm looking somewhere else just to make sure. This is the official White House feed that I have here. Come on, man. Come on, man. Oh, maybe Podesta will come out and tell us that he can't make it, like he did with Hillary. Oh, man, that'd be the best. John Podesta, back again. Oh, Princess, you've seen Scammer Payback? Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, there's another scam going around. They say they're Cash App, and they have, like, a huge amount of money in your Cash App. Oh, come on. Come on. Here we are. He's 9 minutes late. Think about that. 9 minutes late. We would have been at about halfway through the press conference, maybe even more at this point. The timer will begin. I've got my stopwatch. Okay? We're going to time the Biden press conference. See, there you go. Stopwatch. And I don't use my Apple Watch anymore. I got the Apple Watch 1. It's really old, but I just got this for $9.99 on eBay. Old Casio. It works fine. But as soon as Biden talks, when the first words come out of his mouth, I'm going to hit start the time so we can see how long he talks for. How long is the press conference? They're eating away at his time. I'm going to say he won't come out before 1:30. It's 25 after now. The door's opening now. Okay. The door's open. When you see the walker, you'll know. Somebody, no. He's still not coming out. You know, me personally, I find being late, 2 minutes, yeah. I find being late very rude, very disrespectful, especially when you're in a position like this. Because how many people are there around the world that have stopped everything they're doing at work and everywhere else just to watch this? You know? And you know, this is much different than other presidential press conferences. Usually, when there's a presidential press conference, you're watching what? For news and information coming from the president about what we're facing. Right? Like last year with Trump, it was always about, you know, the pandemic. So you want to know what is the president doing? What is his reaction going to be? What information is he bringing us? I mean, this goes for every president, even Bill Clinton. Right now, think about this. Everyone around America and the world who's watching this, no one is watching for information. Everyone is watching to see how long he's up there, how few questions he takes, are they pre-planned questions? Is he going to pull names out of his pocket on who to call on? Will he slip? Will he be awake? Will he have a mask on? Will he not have a mask on? I mean, no one is watching this for any reason other than, you know, like you slow down when the car accident's on the side of the road or something. You know what I mean? That in itself makes it a historic press conference, right? I mean, even during the Lewinsky scandal, you'd watch a press conference to get information about the Lewinsky scandal from the White House. This, you're just watching, will he fall? You know, will Kamala be there, like as a caregiver, helping him walk out, walk in? You know, I mean, that's not good. I mean, am I wrong about that? Or do you think there's anyone who's, Biden's about to speak. We got to find out what the president's going to tell us about this. What's happening with the border? He's going to give us the answers to what's going on. No. And it shouldn't be that way. It should not be that way. Here we go. Okay. As soon as he starts talking, did you see him jog out there?
Please sit down. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
I
you.
started already. I started when he said please. That
Good
counts.
afternoon. Before I take questions, I want to give you a progress report to the nation on where we stand 65 days into office here, on vaccinations and a few other top priorities for the American people. First, on vaccinations. On December 8th, I indicated that I hope to get 100 million shots in people's arms in my first 100 days. We met that goal last week by day 58, 42 days ahead of schedule. Now today I'm setting a second goal, and that is we will, by my 100th day in office,
You're supposed to cough into your arm.
Shots.
Supposed to cough into your arm, not your hand.
That's right, 200 million shots in 100 days. I know it's ambitious, twice our original goal, but no other country in the world has even come close, not even close to what we were doing.
The sign language lady's keeping me alert.
I believe we can do it. And today, we made a historic investment in reaching the hardest hit and the most vulnerable communities, the highest risk communities, as a consequence of the virus, by investing an additional $10 billion in being able to reach them. I also set a goal before I took office of getting a majority of schools in K through 8 fully open in the first 100 days. Now, thanks to the enormous amount of work done by our administration, educators, parents, local, state education officials, and leaders, recent Department of Education survey shows that nearly half of the K through 8 schools are open now full-time, 5 days a week for in-person learning. Not yet a majority, but we're really close, and I believe in the 35 days left to go, we'll meet that goal as well. As of yesterday, more than 100 million payments of $1,400 have gone into people's bank accounts. That's real money in people's pockets, bringing relief instantly almost. and millions more will be getting their money very soon. One final note. Since we passed the American Rescue Plan, we're starting to see new signs of hope in our economy. Since it was passed, a majority of economic forecasters have significantly increased their projections on the economic growth that's going to take place this year. They're now projecting it will exceed 6%, a 6% growth in GDP. And just this morning, we learned that the number of people filing for weekly unemployment insurance fell by nearly 100,000 persons. It's the first time in a year
I'm watching the sign language lady.
Below the pre-pandemic high.
She's above my head.
So there are still too many Americans out of work, too many families hurting, and they still have a lot of work to do. But I can say to you, the American people, help is here.
Yes.
And hope is on the way. Now I'll be happy to
Here we
take
go.
your questions.
Question 1. Let's keep track of the number of questions.
Zeke, the Associated Press.
Oh, he's got a list. He's got a list. Zeke.
President, you mentioned your progress on COVID-19. I'd like to ask you about some of the other issues facing your presidency. One of the defining challenges you face in the coming months is how to deliver on your promise to Americans on issues like immigration reform, gun control, voting rights, climate change.
Oh.
All of those right now are facing stiff, united opposition from Republicans on Capitol Hill.
Pre-planned question.
How far are you willing to go to achieve those promises that you made?
Let's see if he looks at that. I hear papers turning.
Well,
Is he
I'm good.
looking
Look.
at the papers? What are those
When,
papers he's looking at?
When I took office,
Oh, there's the answers.
I decided that
See?
it was a fairly basic, simple proposition.
Written answers.
And that is, I got elected to solve problems.
Yes.
And the most urgent problem facing the American people, I stated from the outset, was COVID-19 and the economic dislocation.
See, this
for
question
millions and millions of Americans.
is a nothing
And so
time
that's
killer
why I put
question to eat
all my
press
focus
conference
in the
time.
beginning. There are a lot of problems, but all my focus on dealing
When
with
are you going
those
to
particular problems.
get to the great things that you want to
And
get
the
to
other
and be
problems
great
we're
and get
talking
them?
about, from immigration
Look at that.
to guns and the other things you mentioned,
Yeah.
are long-term problems. They've been around a long time. And what we're going to be able to do, God willing, is now begin one at a time to focus on those as well.
Mm-hmm.
And whether it's immigration or guns or a number of other problems that face the country.
That's one question.
Fundamental problem.
Looking down for the
Getting
answer.
people some peace of mind so
For
they can
5.5
go to bed
minutes
at
in.
night and not stare at the ceiling wondering whether they lost their health insurance, whether they're going to lose a family member, whether they're going to be in a position
Watch,
where
we're gonna get to the kitchen
they're
table
not gonna
analogy.
they're going to lose their home because they can't pay their mortgage, or the millions of people are going to get thrown out of their homes because of the inability to pay their rent.
The next question will be,
So
where's Hunter?
We're going to move on these one at a time, try to do as many simultaneous as we can, but that's the reason why I focused as I have. And here's the deal. I think my Republican colleagues are going to have to determine whether or not
Well, there
we
was no
want
real
to
question.
work together, or they'll decide that the way
That was
in
a
which
ridiculous question.
they want to proceed is to just decide to divide the country, continue the politics of division. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to move forward and take these things as they
Here
come.
goes the next question. That's one question.
Follow up, Mr. President.
Follow-up from this guy?
Can your presidency be a success if you can't make progress on those four challenges: climate change, immigration
Oh,
reform,
my
gun control,
goodness.
voting rights?
Well, I plan on making progress on all of them, but that's
Oh,
going to
my
be for the American
goodness.
people to decide. I think, I doubt whether.
What about
maybe
the
you did, maybe
pictures of the
others did.
kids with the silver
I
blankets
thought
on the
many of you
concrete
thought there was no
that haven't
possibility of
showered in a
getting
week?
The plan I got passed without any Republican votes. Pretty big deal. Got passed.
Wow.
Growing the economy.
This is
People's
worse than
lives
I
are
thought it
changing.
would be.
So let's see what happens. All I know, I've been hired to solve problems.
Yes.
To solve problems, not create division.
What's the southern border, man? Come on, man. Second question. Here we go.
Okay.
Back to the list.
How about Yamish?
Yamish. Zeke, and now Amish.
Thanks so much, Mr. President.
You've
said over and over again that
this
immigrants
lady
shouldn't come to this country right now. This isn't the time to come. That message is not being received. Instead, the perception of you that got you elected as a moral, decent man is the reason why a lot of immigrants are coming to this country and entrusting you with
moral,
unaccompanied
decent
minors.
man.
How do you resolve that tension?
Go interview
how are
Tara
you choosing
Reid.
which families can stay and which can go, given the fact that even though with Title 42 there are some families that are staying? And is there a timeline for when we won't be seeing these overcrowded facilities run by CPB when it comes to unaccompanied minors?
Well, look, I guess I should be flattered. People are coming because I'm the nice guy. That's the reason.
Nice guy.
That I'm a decent man, or however it's phrased. That that's why they're coming, because no.
Have they not heard of Tara Reid? He's because you're a decent man.
Nothing has changed.
You're such a decent man.
As
my
many people
goodness.
came, 28% increase in children to the border.
I'm embarrassed for him.
My administration, 31% in the last year in 2019 before the pandemic, in the Trump administration.
Exactly.
Every
single Terry.
Solitary
Oh my
year.
goodness.
There is a significant increase in the number of people coming to the border.
Yep, he's losing energy, guys. Second question. Losing
January,
energy.
February, March.
We are
It happens every year.
8 minutes and 43 seconds
that,
in.
There is
I see the energy going down here.
And by the way, does anybody suggest that there was a 31% increase under Trump because he was a nice guy?
Oh, back to Trump.
He was doing good things at the border?
There he is, Trump.
That's not the reason they're coming. The reason they're coming is that it's the time they can travel with the least likelihood of dying on the way because of the heat in the desert, number one. Number two, they're coming because of the circumstances in country. In country. The way to deal with this problem, and I started to deal with it back when I was United States Senator, Vice President, putting together
Which one?
a bipartisan plan of over $700 million to do with the root causes of why people are leaving. What did Trump do? He eliminated that funding. He didn't use it.
Trump again.
He didn't do it.
Trump.
And in addition to that, what he did, he dismantled all the elements.
I thought he said surge the border.
To deal with what had been
Didn't he say surge the border?
And has been continued to be a problem for a long time. He, in fact, shut down the number of beds available.
Back to Trump again.
He did not fund HHS to get
Got that Trump derangement going on.
Children out of those border patrol facilities where they should not be and not supposed to be more than
you got him
a
in there
few
now.
days,
Come on,
a
man.
while. But he dismantled all of that.
Yes,
so what we're doing now is attempting to rebuild the system that can accommodate what is happening today. And I'd like to think it's because I'm a nice guy, but it's not. It's
and a
because
moral,
of what's
decent man.
every year. Let me say one other thing on this.
What moral, decent
If you take
man.
a look
my goodness.
the number of people who are coming, the vast majority, the overwhelming majority of people coming to the border and crossing are being sent back. Thousands, tens of thousands of people who are over 18 years of age and single people, one at a time coming, have been sent back.
Single. So if they're married?
Home.
Well, how do you know they're married? Can't they just say they're married?
The majority of the families that are coming. We're trying to work out now with Mexico their willingness to take more of those families back. But that's what's happening. They're not getting across the border. Yeah. And those who are coming across the border who are unaccompanied children, we're moving rapidly to try to put in place what was dismantled, as I said. For example, of all the
11 minutes, 20 seconds,
border,
people.
Over 70% are
11 minutes, 20
seconds. 17
seconds.
years old. We're not talking about people ripping babies from mother's arms or little 3-year-olds.
I said 22 minutes. We're halfway through my guess.
1.5% fall in the category of the very young. So what we're doing is we're providing for the space, again, to be able to get these kids out of the Border Patrol facilities, which no one should be in any longer than 72 hours. And today, I went to, for example, I used all the resources available to me, went to the Defense Department, and
this is the second question.
The Secretary of Defense has just made available Fort Bliss, 5,000 beds.
Oh, great.
Be immediately available, 5,000 beds in the Texas border. So we're building back up the capacity that should have been maintained and built upon.
Yeah, this is question
Trump
2.
Dismantled.
And she really didn't ask
It's
a question.
Take time.
She called him a moral, decent
The
man.
other thing we're doing, I might
The
add,
reporter. So.
Am I giving you too long an answer?
Yes.
Because if you don't
Next
want the
question.
detail,
Peter Ducey, Fox News.
No, but I mean,
he's got real
I don't
questions.
know how much detail you want about immigration. Maybe I'll stop there and finish.
Yes.
My follow-up question is...
Follow-up?
One, if you could talk a little bit about which families, why they're being allowed to stay, what the families that are being allowed to stay, why they're being allowed to stay. And in addition to that, when it comes to the filibuster, which is what Zeke was asking about, there's immigration is a big issue, of course, when it related to the filibuster, but there's also Republicans who are passing bill after bill, trying to restrict voting rights. Chuck Schumer is calling it an existential threat to democracy.
Yes.
Why not back a filibuster rule that at least gets around issues including voting rights or immigration? Jim Clyburn, someone of course who you know very well, has backed the idea.
Is he a moral, decent man
when it
too?
comes to civil rights and voting rights.
Well, look, I'm going to deal with all of those problems.
I don't count follow-ups. Each one got a follow-up. So we're still at 2 questions.
Let's go to the first question you asked.
Yeah.
The first of the second questions you asked.
The first of the second.
And that is, what about dealing with families?
13
Why are
minutes,
not
35
some
seconds,
not going
people.
back? Because Mexico is refusing to take them back. They're saying they won't take them back, not all of them. We're in negotiations with the president of Mexico. I think we're going to see that change. They should all be
I'm getting tired,
back.
guys.
All be going back.
I'm getting like Biden. I need whatever Biden's
We're
got.
not going to let sitting there on the other side of the Rio Grande.
Yep.
By
Second
themselves
question.
with no
Second
help,
reporter.
our children. And what we're doing there, and it's an important point to understand. I know you understand it. I don't mean to say it that way. Important point to focus on. The vast majority of people under the age of 18 come to the United States come with a telephone number on a wristband.
Oh, really?
They come with a telephone number in their pocket.
It's a number. It rings to an Obama phone somewhere in America.
Close relative, grandmama or grandpa. Well, what's happening before is it's taking literally weeks and weeks and maybe even months before anybody pick up the phone and call to see if there really was someone there. Well, we've set up a system now where within 24 hours there's a phone call made as that child crosses the border. And then a verification system being put in place as of today to determine quickly whether or not that is a trafficker being called or that is actually a mom, a dad, and or
Well, how do you know?
relative.
Do they say
We're
hello?
establishing that right off the bat.
Drug
If it in
trafficker
fact
on the line.
is
How do they know
mom or
it's not a
dad,
drug trafficker
Dad
or
says, to take the extreme case, I got a birth
a sex
certificate.
trafficker?
Then
How do they
guess what?
know?
We're getting that kid directly.
How do they know it's a
to
parent or grandparent
that
and not a
parent
human trafficker?
Immediately.
Oh my
And so
goodness.
that's going to reduce significantly.
Wow.
There's 2 ways to reduce child
Jeez.
populations in circumstances that are not acceptable, like being held at a border patrol station.
Yeah, exactly. Coyote
One
cartel
is to get
wristbands.
them
Exactly.
to the place where they have a relative and set a date
Well,
as
thank
to
you,
when
Julian.
the hearing can be held. The second way to do it is put them in a health and human services facility.
I'd like to see
that we're occupying now. Both
Project
licensed
Veritas
beds around the country
start calling those
that
numbers from the
exist,
wristbands and
as
find out
well
who's on the
as,
other
for
end.
example,
Oh, man.
federal resources like Fort
That'd be
Bliss
awesome.
to get them safely in a
We're
place
still on the second
where they
question.
can be taken care
Second
of
question.
while their fate is determined.
Okay, here we go.
Filibuster. Fulfill the filibuster.
She got another question. Still a second
know,
second reporter still.
With regard to the filibuster, I believe
This is a
we
filibuster.
should go back to a position of the filibuster that existed just when I came to the United States Senate 120 years ago.
Yeah, Chris Hansen on the
And
board.
that is
Exactly.
that it used to be required for the filibuster, and I had a card on this. I was going to give you the statistics, but you probably know them.
Yeah.
That
More written down
It used to
stuff.
be that from between 1917 and 1971, the filibuster existed. There were a total of 58 motions to break a filibuster. That whole time. Last year alone, there were 5 times that many. So it's being abused in a gigantic way. And for example, it used to be you had to stand there and talk and talk and talk and talk until you collapsed. And guess what? People got tired of talking and tired of collapsing. Filibusters broke down and we were able to break the filibuster, get a quorum and vote. So I strongly support moving in that direction, in addition to having an open mind about dealing with certain things that are just elemental to the functioning of our democracy, like the right to vote, like the basic right to vote. We've amended the filibuster in the past. But here's the deal. As you observed, I'm a fairly practical guy.
Yes, and a moral decent one, according to the press corps.
I want to get them done consistent with.
But I haven't done anything in my 45 years in Washington. But now I'm going to get them done.
In a 50-50 Senate.
Oh my goodness.
We've got to get to the place where I get 50 votes so that the Vice President of the United States can break the tie, where I get 51 votes without her. And so I'm going to say something outrageous. I have never been particularly poor at calculating how to get things done in the United States Senate. So the best way to get something done, if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to, anyway.
Oh, lost his train of thought. Yeah, to what?
We're going to get a lot done.
Oh my goodness.
We have to, if there's complete
lockdown
and chaos. As a
18 minutes, 24 seconds. Come on, man.
Go beyond what I'm talking about.
He forgot where he was going. All right, here goes the third reporter, third question.
Hang on.
Let me go back to my list. Peter Ducey, Fox News, One American News, Newsmax.
It's Kim.
Kim.
Thank you, Mr. President. To follow up on the filibuster, so do you believe it should take 60 votes to end a filibuster on legislation or 51?
If we could end it with 51, we would have no problem. You're going to have to, the existing rule.
Another filibuster question? This is
all
all academic boredom. We've got a border facility 1,500 times over capacity, filled with children. And they're talking about academic filibustering in the Senate.
It's not my expertise in what the parliamentary rules and how to get there are. But
third question. Two of them are the same, both on filibuster.
Filibuster is totally legitimate. But in the meantime, we got a lot we can do while we're talking about what we're going to do about the filibuster.
19 and a half minutes. Fourth person. Back to the list.
Cecilia Vega.
Cecilia Vega.
I'd like to circle back to immigration, please.
CNN.
You just
is she
listed
CNN?
The reasons
I'm not sure who she
people are
is.
coming,
Can't tell
talking
with the
about
mask.
in-country problems, saying that it happens every year. You blamed the last administration. Sir, I just got back last night from a reporting trip to the border where I met 9-year-old Josel, who walked here from Honduras by himself, along with another little boy. He had that phone number on him, and we were able to call his family.
Oh, she called the number.
His mother says that she sent her son to this country because she believes that you are not deporting unaccompanied minors like her son.
Question.
That's why she sent him alone from Honduras. So, sir, you blame the last administration, but is your messaging in saying that these children are and will be allowed to stay in this country and work their way through this process, encouraging families like Josel's to come?
Well, look.
Well, that's a good question. That's a good question, guys. Fourth question, that's a good one.
The idea that I'm going to say, which I would never do.
How did this get through?
If an unaccompanied child ends up at the border, we're just going to let him starve to death and stay on the other side.
Oh, yeah.
No previous administration did that either, except Trump.
Oh, except Trump.
I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
21 minutes.
That's why I've asked the Vice President of the United States yesterday to be the lead
Thanks,
person
Don John.
on dealing with focusing on the fundamental reasons why people leave Honduras, Guatemala, El Salvador in the first place. It's because of earthquakes, floods.
Oh my goodness.
It's
climate
because
change.
Of lack of food. It's because of gang violence. It's because of a whole range of things that when I was vice president had the same obligation to deal with unaccompanied children.
Sounds like the south side of Chicago.
Slowed up significantly by working with the heads of state of those communities to do things like in one of the major
This
cities,
is the fourth question.
reason people were leaving is they couldn't walk the street because they were getting.
I think the next reporter is Corn Pop.
Shot or gang violence.
I'd love to see Corn Pop ask a
What I was
question.
able to do is not give money to the head of state because so many are corrupt, but I was able to say, okay, you need lighting in the streets to change things. I'll put
That's
the
a 60
lighting.
minutes answer.
We got a contractor. We got the type of lighting. We paid directly to the contractor, did not go through the government. And violent crime significantly was reduced in that city. fewer people sought to leave. When this hurricane occurred, the 2 hurricanes, instead of us going down and helping in a major way so that people would not have a reason to want to leave in the first place because they didn't have housing or water or sustenance, we did nothing. We're going to do a lot in our administration. We're going to be spending.
So they scammed us out of getting all new streetlights for their whole country. Oh my goodness!
To change the life and circumstances of why people leave in the first place. That mother did not sit around on the kitchen table and say, you know, I got a great idea. Way I'm going to make sure my son gets taken care of is I'm going to put how old was he or she?
He's 9. I also met a 10-year-old.
9-year-old came all the way by themselves from Honduras?
Send him on a 1,000-mile journey across the desert and up to the United States because I know Joe Biden's a nice guy and he'll take care of him.
Joe Biden's a nice guy.
What a desperate act to have to take. The circumstances must be horrible.
Maybe you could put some lights on her street too.
So we can do something about that. That's what the vice president's going to be doing. What I did when President Obama asked me to come and deal. I was in Turkey at the time. He said, you got to come home and take care of this.
Oh, just the 60 Minutes answer again. We heard this on 60 Minutes this week.
So the question here is how we go ahead and do this, what we do. There's no easy answer.
Quick follow, if I may. Do you want to see these unaccompanied minors staying in this?
I don't know who she's with. I don't recognize her with the mask on.
Should they be deported eventually?
Well, the judgment has to be made whether or not, in this young man's case, he has a mom at home. There's an overwhelming reason why he'd be put in a plane and flown back.
She called the number on the bracelet. It didn't ring to America. It rang to Honduras, where he came from. I thought they had phone numbers of family here.
Circumstances that must be horrific.
His mother answered in Honduras.
Border Protection Facility in Donna, Texas. I was there.
Oh, here we go.
1,556% capacity right now with mostly unaccompanied minors. There are kids that are sleeping on floors. They are packed into these pods. I've spoken to lawyers who say that some of these children have not seen the sun in days.
Oh my goodness.
What's your reaction? What is your reaction to these images that have come out from that particular facility?
That's a good question.
Is what's happening inside acceptable to you? And when is this going to be fixed?
That's a serious question, right?
Yeah.
That's acceptable to me. Come on.
Come on, man.
That's why we're going to be moving 1,000 of those kids out quickly. That's why I got Fort Bliss opened up. That's why I've been working from the moment this started to happen to try to find additional access for children to be able to safely, not just children, but
because he's a moral, decent man,
right? Able to safely be housed while we follow through on the rest of what's happening. That is totally unacceptable.
Okay, here comes the fifth question. Fifth question. And I lost. We are at 25 minutes and 21 seconds.
Afghanistan. You face a May 1st deadline for the withdrawal of U.S. troops from that country. As a candidate in foreign affairs, you wrote that it is past time to end these forever wars. Can you commit to the American people that by May 2nd, the U.S. will no longer have forces in Afghanistan?
The answer is that it's going to be hard to meet the May 1 deadline. Just in terms of tactical reasons, it's hard to get those troops out. So what we've been doing, what I've been doing, and what Secretary Blinken has been doing.
Let me see, where are we?
We've been meeting with our allies.
26 minutes.
Other nations that have
26
NATO
minutes.
Allies who have troops in Afghanistan as well. And if we leave, we're going to do so in a safe and orderly way. We're in consultation, I say, with our allies and partners and how to proceed. And Secretary Blinken is meeting in Brussels this week with our NATO allies, particularly those who have forces there. And General Austin is just met with Kayani, and I'm waiting for the briefing on that.
I said 21 minutes. We're well over that.
Leader.
I'm going to say now they're going to go until the top of the hour.
There's a UN-led process.
But I've already lost because I said 21 minutes. We're shortly
on how
we're at we're coming up on 27 minutes on my mark.
It is not my intention to stay there.
Mark 27 minutes.
But the question is, how and in what circumstances.
The reporter said the number on the bracelet rang to the mother in Honduras, not to somebody in America.
Trump to leave under a deal that looks like it's not being able to be worked out to begin with. How's that done? But we are not staying a long time.
You just said if we leave. Do you think it's possible that
we will leave? The question is when we leave.
Yeah, when?
Sorry, do you believe, though, it's possible we could have troops there next year?
It's 20 years, man.
I can't picture that being the case.
Okay, here comes. That was 5 questions.
Okay.
Back to the list. Kristen. Question number 6.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Given the conditions that were just laid out at
NBC
the migrant
News
facilities at the U.S. border, will you commit to allowing journalists to have access to the facilities that are overcrowded moving forward?
She stayed at the White House when Obama was president.
Is underway to let you have access.
She spent Christmas with the Obamas, that reporter, with her family. Kristen Welker, isn't it, from MSNBC?
Access to the facilities.
Hard to tell with the mask.
We've obviously been allowed to be inside one, but we haven't seen the facilities in which children are packed together to really give
she's calling them out. MSNBC calling Biden out.
Transparency on this issue.
I will commit to transparency.
Come on, man.
And as soon as I am in a position to be able to implement what we're doing right now, and one of the reasons I haven't gone down, I have all my chief folks have gone down, is I don't.
It has not been though. It has been.
Issue. I don't want to be
coming up on 29 minutes since he started talking.
Everybody with me to get in the way. So this is being set up, and you'll have full access to everything once we get this thing moving.
Just to be clear, how soon will that be, Mr. President?
I don't know. To be clear.
Oh man.
He
doesn't know.
Everything that's happening at the border now. I hear you talking a lot about the past administration. You decided to roll back some of those policies. Did you move too quickly to
roll back what? I'm sorry.
Policies. Did you move too quickly to roll back some of the executive orders?
Peter Doocy, Fox News.
First of all the policies that are underway were not helping at all. Did not slow up the amount of immigration and as many people coming. And rolling back the policies of separating children from their mothers, I make no apology for that. Rolling back the policies of remaining
Shocker,
in
people.
Mexico, sitting on
We're coming up on 30 minutes since he started talking. 30 minutes
not enough to eat.
on my mark
no
here.
apologies for that.
I can't believe
I
it.
make no apologies.
Is he going to take one after this?
Programs that did not exist
Mark,
before Trump
30
became
minutes.
president.
Back to
that
Trump.
had
30
an
minutes.
incredibly negative impact on the law, international law, as well as on human dignity. And so I make no apologies for that.
To ask you about foreign policy, Mr. President. Overnight, we learned that North Korea tested 2 ballistic missiles. What, if any, actions will you take, and what is your red line on North Korea?
He's looking for the answer. It's written on the paper, the red line.
UN Resolution 1718.
See, he just read the answer.
Violated by those particular missiles that were
How did he have that answer ready if he didn't know the question in advance?
Partners.
Right there.
And
it's a scripted play.
There will be responses if they choose to escalate.
Boom. Right there.
We will respond accordingly. But I'm also prepared for some form of diplomacy.
Wow.
But it has to be conditioned upon the end result of denuclearization. So,
wow. Right off the paper.
Right now, consulting with our allies.
Just very quick
You
follow-up.
only got another hour now, okay?
Diplomacy, can you define what you mean? And former President Obama warned the incoming President Trump that North Korea was the top foreign policy issue that he was watching. Is that how you assess the crisis in North Korea?
Yes. Okay, hang on a second.
Oh, back to the list. That was 6 questions.
Nancy,
We're going to this.
CBS?
Nancy from CBS. Question 7.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I want to go back to voting rights. And as Yamiche mentioned, Republican legislatures across the country are working to pass bills that would restrict voting, particularly Democrats fear impacting minority voters and young voters, the very people who helped to get you elected in November. Are you worried that if you don't manage to pass voting rights legislation, that your party is going to lose seats and possibly lose control of the House and the Senate in 2022?
What I'm worried about is how un-American
this
whole initiative is. It's sick. It's sick. Deciding in some states that you cannot bring water to people standing in line, waiting to vote. Deciding that you're going to end voting at 5 o'clock when working people are just getting off work. Deciding that there will be no absentee ballots under the most rigid circumstances. It's all designed, and I'm going to spend my time doing three things. One, trying to figure out how to pass the legislation passed by the House, number one. Number two,
33 minutes.
Educating the American
33
public.
minutes.
The Republican voters I know find this despicable. Republican voters.
Oh, getting angry now. Come on, man.
Folks out.
Cool off.
Outside this White House. I'm not talking about the elected officials. I'm talking about voters. Voters. And so I'm convinced that we'll be able to stop this because it is the most pernicious thing. This makes Jim Crow look like Jim Eagle. I mean, this is gigantic.
Who's Jim Eagle?
Trying to do. And it cannot be sustained. And do everything
That's
in my
it.
power, along with my friends
He's
in
wrapping
the
up.
House and the Senate, to keep that from becoming the law.
Who's Jim Eagle? Anybody know who Jim
Is
Eagle
there
is?
anything else you can do about it besides passing legislation?
Yeah, this guy's holding the microphone like
The
this.
answer is yes, but I'm not
Upside
going to
down.
lay out a strategy in front of the whole world and you now.
Then, on a related note,
got a
have you
secret
decided
strategy.
whether you are going to run for re-election in 2024? You haven't set up a re-election campaign
Wow.
yet, as your predecessor had by this time.
My predecessor needed to. My predecessor. Oh, God, I miss him.
Yeah, I can tell
No,
you
the
keep
answer
talking
is
about
yes.
him.
My plan is to run for re-election. That's my expectation.
Oh, man, there you go.
On one other note, on bipartisanship, your old friend, Mitch McConnell, says you have only spoken to each other once since you took office, and that you have moved far left
I don't know who Jim Eagle
since
is.
taking office. Do you see it the same way he does? Have you rejected bipartisanship?
No, I haven't at all. I've been meeting. When's the last time a president invited the opposite party down at least a half a dozen times to talk about issues, everything from how we work. We're working with a group of 20 members of the Senate right now and House on how we reestablish our ability to make computer chips and how we get ahead of the game.
What if I held my mic
how we
like
can work
that all the
together.
time?
We're
What would you
working
guys
together on
think?
A bunch of things. But
Like
look,
this, with my
I
hand
know
upside
Mitch
down.
well. Mitch knows me well. I would expect Mitch to say exactly what he said. But this is a matter of making sure that I would like elected Republican support.
He doesn't want
What I
our
know I
support.
have now
He wants
is I
elected
have
Republican support. Those of us that aren't elected, he doesn't want our
from
support.
Republican voters. Republican voters agree with what I'm doing. And so unless Mitch says the last thing I did, this last piece of legislation, is so far left, well, then he ought to take a look at his party. Over 50% of them must be over that edge as well, because they support what I did. Okay.
Back to the list.
Where am I here?
I've lost track. Is this seventh question?
Caitlin?
Is this the seventh question?
Thank you
Caitlin's
very much,
CNN.
Mr. President, I have a question for you. But
Acosta's
first, I'd
replacement.
like to follow up on a question from Yamiche, and that's on the filibuster.
That counts as a question, but go ahead.
Okay, I'll make it quick. It's a
No,
quick
no, you
question.
You can ask the same question
regarding
again.
the filibuster, at John Lewis's funeral,
can run the
President
clock
Barack
out.
Obama said he believed the filibuster was a relic of the Jim Crow era. Do you agree?
Yes.
If not, why not abolish it if it's a relic of the Jim Crow era?
Successful electoral politics is the art of the possible.
Okay.
Let's figure out
The
how
art of the
we can get
possible.
this done.
The art of the possible,
Move in the
people.
direction of significantly changing the abuse of even the filibuster rule first.
Why are you
It's
here?
been abused from the time it came into being
Because of me. You're here for
by
me.
an extreme way in the last 20 years. Let's deal with the abuse first.
you're moving closer to eliminating the filibuster. Is that correct?
I answered your question.
You also just made some news by saying that you are going to run for re-election.
I said that is my expectation.
So is that a yes, that you are running for re-election?
Look,
they can't wait. They're already excited.
I've never been able to travel. I'm a great respecter of fate. I've never been able to plan 3.5 years ahead for certain.
And if you do run, will Vice President Harris be on your ticket?
I would fully expect that to be the case. She's doing a great job. She's a great partner. She's a great partner.
And do you believe you'll be running against former President Trump?
Oh, come on. I don't even think about it. I have no idea. I have no idea whether there'll be a Republican Party.
Oh.
Do you?
They're gonna.
I know you don't have to answer my question.
There won't be a Republican Party? Where's it going? Are they outlawing us? What does that mean? What does he mean there may not be a Republican Party?
Set a goal.
They're going to do. They're talking about doing away with the filibuster.
For the people.
He's talking about doing away with the Republican Party.
Hard-working, decent American.
What was that?
Really having it stuck to.
Oh my goodness!
I want to change the paradigm.
There may not be a Republican Party.
We start to reward work, not just wealth. I want to change the paradigm. If you notice, didn't you find it kind of interesting that my Republican friends were worried about that the cost and the taxes that had to be had, if there is any tax to be had, as they talk about it, in dealing with the act that we just passed, which puts money in people's pockets, ordinary people? Do you hear them complain?
By the way, we're 38 minutes and 40 seconds, so
Trump tax cut?
Pretty much all of us were wrong. One person said 45 minutes. You're going to be the closest.
Do you hear them talk about that at all? I love the fact that they found this whole idea of
the one-party rule.
Concern about the federal budget. It's kind of amazing. When the federal budget is saving people's lives,
he's yelling at us
now. I don't think it's such a good idea. When the federal budget is feathering the nest of the wealthiest Americans, 90 of the Fortune 500 companies making billions of dollars not paying a cent in taxes, reducing taxes to the point that people who are making, if you're a husband and wife, a school teacher, and a cop, you're paying at a higher rate than the average person making $1 billion a year is. Something's wrong.
Yeah, come on, man.
Their newfound concern. I'm concerned.
Is anyone going to ask about the Republican Party not being around
a lot of you still
in 2024? Where's it going?
So I'm running for 3 reasons. To restore the soul, dignity, honor, honesty, transparency to the American political system. 2, to rebuild the backbone of this country, the middle class. Hard-working people and people struggling to get in the middle class. They built America.
That's right. They built
and unions built them. The 3rd reason I said I was running was to unite the country. And generically speaking, all of you said, no, you can't do that. Well, I've not been able to unite the Congress, but I've been uniting the country based on the polling data. We have to come together. We have to. So from my perspective, it's...
I've lost track. Is it 7 or 8 questions?
It's about...
Is it the 7th or 8th reporter? I've lost track.
Out there, putting one foot in front of the other and just trying to make things better for people. Just hard-working people. People get up every morning and just want to figure out how to put food on the table for their kids, to be able to have a little bit of breathing room, being able to make sure that they go to bed not staring at the ceiling like my dad did, wondering since he didn't have health insurance, what happens if mom gets sick or he got sick. These are basic things.
Come on, man.
Basic things. And I'm of the view
this sounds like the grand finale. Well, do you think there'll be another question after this one?
Republicans, by and large, share that same view, that same sense of what is, what's appropriate. Justin.
Nope, another question.
Justin Singh, Bloomberg.
Oh, Bloomberg. Oh, yeah. Another Trump-hating outlet.
I wanted to ask about your relationship with China now that you've been in office for a couple months. There's obviously the meeting in Alaska that was a little theatrical, and there's the continued human rights abuses. So today, I'm wondering, are you more likely than you were when you came into office to maintain tariffs on China? Are you considering banning imports of forced labor products? And would you consider cutting off U.S. investment or Chinese access to international payment systems?
Well, look, they're each specifically legitimate questions.
Yes, they are.
But they only touch a smidgen
Where's
of what
Peter
the relationship
Ducey?
with China really is about.
One American News,
I've
where are they
known
at?
Xi Jinping for a long time. Allegedly, by the time I left office as vice president, I had spent more time with Xi Jinping than any world leader had. Because President Obama and the Chinese President Hu decided we should get to know one another, since it was inappropriate for the President of the United States to spend time with the Vice President of another country. But it was obvious he was going to become the new leader of China. So I spent hours upon hours with him alone with an interpreter, my interpreter and his.
Well, that's not alone.
Going into great
That's
detail.
4 people.
It's
That's not
very,
alone,
very
Biden.
Straightforward.
It's 4 people.
Doesn't have a Democratic with a small d bone in his body, but he's a smart guy. He's one of the guys like Putin who thinks that autocracy is the wave of the future. Democracy can't function in an ever complex world.
Yeah.
So when I was elected and he called to congratulate me, I think to the surprise of the China experts who were his people on the call as well as mine listening, we had a 2-hour conversation for 2 hours. And we made several things clear to one another. I made it clear to him again, what I've told him in person on several occasions, that we're not looking for confrontation, although we know there will be steep competition. 2, that
now back to the
we'll
list.
have strong competition, but we'll
It's
insist that
amazing how
China
all
play
the
by
answers just happen to be
international rules.
before him on that paper.
Fair competition.
It's almost as if this was
Fair
rehearsed.
practices, fair trade.
And Psaki had the questions and the
Further,
answers in advance to give to
In order to
him.
compete effectively, I indicated
Wow.
that we're going to deal with China effectively. And we're going to need 3 things to do that. I'm telling our people. First, we're going to invest in American workers and American science. I said that all through the campaign. I say it again, and I'm setting up my administration to be able to do that, which is that, you know, back in the 60s, we used to invest a little over 2% of our entire GDP in pure research and investment in science. Today, it's 0.7%. I'm going to change that. We're going to change that. The future lies in who can, in fact, own the future as it relates to technology, quantum computing, a whole range of things.
I'll stop the time when he's done talking.
And so
we'll get the final count on how long he's been up there.
Make sure we invest closer to 2%. One of the reasons why I've set up the PAB, the President's Board with Scientists and the like, again, is we're going to invest in medical research, cancer, Alzheimer's, diabetes, the things, industries of the future, artificial intelligence, quantum computing, biotech, and we're going to make real investments. China is out investing us by a long shot because their plan is to own that future. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to reestablish our alliances, and I've been very clear with them. It's not anti-Chinese, and we've talked about it. I want to make sure that, for example, later today, after this, as a matter of fact, shortly after this.
Nope, looking at the watch. Time to get out of here.
It's fine. We're going close to an hour. I'm happy.
He said close to an hour. How long?
Longer, but
he wants to go longer, but he can't.
that I'm going to be doing.
46
I'm
minutes.
speaking with,
We've been 46
27
minutes.
Heads of state in Europe. And very shortly, I think within the next hour or so. I don't know the exact time. And earlier this month, and apparently it got the Chinese attention. That's not why I did it. I met with our allies and how we're going to hold China accountable in the region. Australia, India, Japan, and the United States, the so-called Quad. Because we have to have democracies working together.
Yes.
Before too long, I'm going to invite an alliance of democracies to come here to discuss the future.
An alliance of democracies.
So we're going to make it clear that in order to deal with these things, we are going to
he's fading
hold
now.
China accountable to
He's
follow
fading.
the rules. follow the rules, whether it relates to the South China Sea or the North China Sea or the agreement made on Taiwan or a whole range of other things. And the third thing, and the thing that I admire about dealing with Xi is he understands. He makes no pretense about not understanding what I'm saying any more than I do him.
He
understands. I pointed out to him, no leader can be sustained in his position or her position unless they represent the values of the country. And I said, Mr. President, as I've told you before, Americans value the notion of freedom.
Yes.
America values human rights. We don't always live up to our expectations, but it's a value system. We are founded on that principle. And as long as you and your country continues to so blatantly violate human rights, we are going to continue in an unrelenting way to call to the attention of the world and make it clear what's happening. And he understood that.
There's the answer again.
Made it clear that no American president, at least one did, but no American president
another
ever
Trump reference
backed down from speaking out of what's happening in the Uyghurs, what's happening in Hong Kong, what's happening in country. That's who we are. The moment a president walks away from that, as the last one did, is the moment we begin to lose our legitimacy around the world. It's who we are.
That's right,
so,
it's who we are.
I see stiff competition with China. China has an overall goal.
Got an itch on my ear.
I don't criticize them for the goal, but they have an overall goal to become the leading country in the world, the wealthiest country in the world, and the most powerful country in the world. That's not going to happen on my watch, because the United States is going to continue to grow and expand.
Yes.
All right, just to follow up on the meeting of democracies, is that where you expect in a multilateral way to make these decisions about sanctions or
No, that's not where I make the decision. That's where I make sure we're all on the same page. All on the same page. Look.
There was one good question about the detention center from the one reporter. I'll give one good question. All these others are nothing but softballs.
Issue of who succeeded, autocracy or democracy? Because that is what is at stake. Not just with China. Look around the world. We're in the midst of a fourth industrial revolution of enormous consequence. Will there be middle class? How will people adjust to these significant
this is at the White House.
changes?
This is the, I think this is the East Room. I've been in that room.
The environment. How will they do that? And our democracy
I've lost track. Is this 8?
Because all the
I think
people
this is
get to
8
speak to compete. It is clear, absolutely clear, and most of the scholars I dealt with at Penn agree with me around the country, that this is a battle between the utility of democracies in the 21st century and autocracies.
Oh my goodness.
If you notice, you don't have Russia talking about communism anymore. It's about an autocracy. Demand decisions made by a leader of a country. That's what's at stake.
So
we
it's
gotta prove
gobbledygook.
democracy works.
Mr. President, sorry, I know you haven't had a chance to address the tragedies in Georgia and Colorado. You had said to stay tuned for actions that you might take.
No, that's the White House. I've been in this room. I recognize where this guy's at.
Either about sending the manufacturer liability bill that you had promised on day one to Capitol Hill.
I'm sure some of you have been in this room. Any of you been in the East Room of the White House?
Going after ghost guns or giving money to cities and states to battle gun control.
All the above. It's a matter of timing. As you've all observed, successful presidents, better than me, have been successful in large part because they know how to time what they're doing.
I'm sleepy too, Joe, but I've been up since 3 a.m., so I got an excuse.
Decide priorities, what needs to be done.
We're a democracy. We're a representative democracy, not a direct democracy. There's different types of democracies.
I'll be announcing it Friday in Pittsburgh in detail, is to rebuild the infrastructure, both physical and technological infrastructure of this country, so that we can compete and create significant numbers of really good paying jobs.
Yes.
Really good paying jobs.
Yeah. Like those jobs on the Keystone Pipeline he got rid of.
Some of you have been around long enough to know that used to be a great Republican goal and initiative. I still think the majority of the American people don't like the fact that we are now ranked, 85th in the world in infrastructure. I mean, look, the future rests on whether or not we have the best airports that can accommodate air travel, ports that you can get in and out of quickly. So
we're at 52 minutes and 40 seconds, so I was way off. He's gone 31 minutes longer than I thought he would.
Trying to attract business to your community. What's the first thing the business asks?
I have no idea what he's talking about, man.
It's closest access
this is to me, this is hypnotic. I mean, this is like being hypnotized.
Is the water available? Is enough water available for me to conduct my business? All the things that relate to infrastructure. We have somewhere, I asked the staff to write it down for me, and they did, not for this.
With all the other answers.
For a longer discussion. We have somewhere in terms of infrastructure, we rank 13th globally in infrastructure. China is investing 3 times more in infrastructure than the United States is. Bridges, more than 1/3 of our bridges, 231,000 of them, need repairs. Some are physical safety risks or preservation work. 1 in 5 miles of our highways and major roads are in poor condition. That's 186,000 miles of highway.
I thought Obama did that with the stimulus, right? All the shovel-ready jobs, the bridges and everything.
20% of all flights.
They were falling down then.
Resulting in 1.5 million hours.
That's what they said.
In production. 6 to 10 million homes in America still have lead pipes servicing their water lines. We have over 100,000 wellheads that are not capped, leaking methane.
Oh, no.
What are we doing? And by the way, we can put as many pipe fitters and miners on us to work capping.
I'm only awake at Tina
wells
because I'm standing up.
At the same price.
If I was watching this on the couch, I would have zonked out.
To dig those wells. So I just find it frustrating. Frustrating. You talk about, last point I'll make in the infrastructure, and I apologize for spending more time on it, but is that if you think about it, it's the place where we will be able to significantly increase American productivity, at the same time providing really good jobs for people. But we can't build back to what they used to be. We have to build, the global warming's already done significant damage. The roads that used to be above the water level didn't have to worry about where the drainage ditch was. Now you got to rebuild them 3 feet higher.
Really? Where's that at? What roads are
back to what it was before.
What roads are underwater that people were driving on every day? What roads are that?
There's so much.
Anybody know any of those roads that are underwater now?
In America.
Atlantis. He wants to rebuild the city of Atlantis. It's underwater.
Now. But in your hometowns, I don't know where you're all from.
We're from Atlantis. It's underwater because of climate change.
Drink the water out of the fountain. How many schools are still in a position
where
you
can't drink water fountains anymore?
Asbestos?
COVID.
How many schools in America we're sending our kids to don't have adequate ventilation? How many homes, buildings, office complexes are wasting billions of barrels of oil over time because they can't hold in the heat or the
He's going to rebuild the buildings of America.
It just leaks through the windows that are so porous.
Can you rebuild my house here?
And the connections.
Oh my goodness.
It's amazing. So there's so much we can do that's good stuff, makes people healthier, and creates good jobs.
Yes.
And I think that I got one more question here.
On my list of questions and answers.
From Univision.
Oh, Univision.
Thank you, Mr. President. We too have been reporting at the border, and just like Cecilia, we ran into a pair of siblings who came in on Monday, were detained by CBP, had the phone number for their mother who lives in the U.S. We have contacted the mother. That's the only way they know her kids are here, because CBP today, Thursday, has
So
not
she left her
contacted
kids
that mother.
behind. She
So
abandoned her
when can we expect
family,
your
her
promise
kids.
of things getting better with contacting and expediting?
Well, they're
the
already
process?
getting better, but they're going to get real. They're going to a whole hell of a lot better real quicker. We're going to hear some people leaving. Okay? We can get this done. We're going to get it done. I had a long meeting with the entire team and several cabinet level officers the other night. We're going to be moving within the next week over 100,000. I mean, 1,000 people out of the Border Patrol into safe, secure beds and facilities. We're going to
1,000, you said.
significantly ramp up. We're already out there contacting everyone from getting some of the employees at HHS. There's a lot of them doing other things and move them into making those calls. We're in the process of rearranging and providing for the personnel needed to get that done. But I admire the fact that you were down there, you're making the calls yourself.
Yeah.
It's real. The next thing that has to happen, though, as you well know, has to happen, there have to be some certitude that this is actually mom, dad,
Yeah.
whomever. And there's ways to do that.
23andMe.
There's ways to do that, a little bit like determining whether or not you got the right code for your credit card. You know, what was your
What?
dog's name, kind of thing.
What was your dog's name?
But not really. And also seeking hard
How about a
data
DNA test?
from DNA to,
There you go.
To birth certificates, which takes longer.
Oh,
so
my
I want to do
goodness.
this as quickly
What's the
as
dog's
humanly
name?
possible and as safely as possible.
Well, no, treating the root causes in Latin America doesn't change things overnight. How do you realistically and physically keep these families from coming to the U.S. when things will not get better in their countries
He's getting personal
right
now.
away?
Oh, I thought he was going to smell the hair for a
But I
second.
know, you know,
They
that
pulled him
old
back.
thing, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step. You know as well as I do. You cover
Looked like
it.
hair smelling time.
You have serious. It's not like
But he
somebody
came back.
sitting on a hand-hewn table in Guatemala. I mean, in somewhere in Mexico
dog's name.
or in
The dog's name is Jose.
Saying, "I got a great idea. Let's sell everything we have. Give it to a coyote. Have them take our kids across
Yes.
the border into a desert where they don't speak the language. Won't that be fun? Let's go." That's not how it happens. People don't want to leave.
No, come on, man.
When my great-grandfather got in a coffin ship in the Irish Sea,
A coffin ship.
expectation was he going to live
coffin ship?
long enough on that ship to get to the United States of America. But they left because of what the Brits have been doing. They were in real trouble. They didn't want to leave, but they had no choice. So we can't.
He's
I can't
trashing the
guarantee we're
UK.
gonna
Do we
solve
have anyone in
everything.
the UK here in the
But I can
chat?
guarantee we can make everything better. We can make it better. We can change the lives of so many people. And the other thing I want to point out to you, and I hope you point out, I realize it's much more heart-wrenching, and it is, to deal with a 5 and 6 and 7-year-old. But you went down there and you saw the vast majority of these children, 70% are 16 years old, 17 years old, and mostly males. Doesn't make it good, bad, or indifferent. But the idea that we have tens of thousands of kids in these god-awful facilities that are really little babies crying all night, there's some, that's true. That's why we got to act. And yesterday,
I know. What is a coffin ship? What the heck is
both
that?
The director of the two agencies as well as
Did he say
others,
coffin
I
ship? It
asked
sounded like
them
coffin
what
ship to
would they,
me.
In fact, and I asked their opinion because they're the experts, but I said, focus on the most vulnerable immediately. But there's no reason why in the next month as people cross the border, that phone call can't be made in the first 48 hours and begin.
If I may ask one last question, have you had any talks with Senate Republicans who are threatening this administration with not considering the immigration legislation that was passed in the House until the situation at the border has been resolved?
He was just trashing the
No,
Brits.
Because I know they have to posture for a while. They sort of got to get it out of their system. This is But
He didn't
I'm
say coffee
ready to
ship.
work
He
with
said
any
coffin
Republican
ship.
who wants to help solve the problem or make the situation better.
Who wanted to sail on a
Folks,
coffin ship?
I'm going.
All right.
Thank you very, very much.
I'm going.
Thank you.
That's it. Okay. Oh, now they all got questions. No, you're not on the list. There it is. That's it, people. That's it, people. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Okay, now let's get the time. I stopped it when he stopped. 1 hour, 2 minutes, and 12 seconds. And I think he took 8 questions. 8 reporters. Maybe 9. I think maybe we hit 9. 1 hour, 2 minutes, and 12 seconds. Oh, my goodness. Well, he did it, people. Now he's off the hook. He got through it. Now he's going to go take a nap. Now, listen, if you're not subscribed, make sure you're subscribed and click the notification bell. Also, like the video, all right, guys? A lot of people tell me they don't get a notification when we go live. And I'll tell people. I say, do you have the notifications? And a lot of times they'll tell me, no, I thought I had the notifications checked and I didn't. So make sure you got that notification button checked. And thumbs up. Yes, thumbs up. Like the video. And in just a bit, my wife and I were going to record our podcast, and that'll be up at 6 o'clock Eastern Time tonight. So make sure you're subscribed, click that notification bell, and look out for the podcast, because Kathy and I will be giving our analysis of this momentous occasion that Biden stood up there for 62 minutes